Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues with Jide. Here we'll talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape, and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, President Tinubu's 2 years in office, the successes and failures. In the course of the program, we take your questions, but first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and check the questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on the subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom, the maestro himself, Jide Kolade Titoju. Good to see you, BKO, and apologies for starting a bit late.
Good evening, Brian. So, a big thank you to our viewers for being there for us at all times.
Right. Now, let's get talking, based on the looking at the 2 year, the midterm reports of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The administration has implemented significant economic reforms, including the removal of fuel subsidies and currency liberalization, which have been praised by international financial bodies. And others have criticized this administration heavily for not properly planning the easy way out. But how do these reforms position Nigeria for long-term economic stability? And what indicators suggest progress towards the administration's goal of the 6% annual growth, which it said it had?
Well, I want to say that because of President Tinubu's tremendous efforts in making Lagos a very big economic power, so many people had high hopes that as president, the president will do very well, especially in the area of the economy. But the people's expectations have only been partially met, and the reforms have made life unbearable for the most vulnerable in our society. We've always demanded that the president should take steps to ensure that the people do not suffer too much as a result of these reforms, especially the poor and the very vulnerable in our society. Because at the end of the day, the president will be judged by how much pain people are going through during his administration. As I've said in the past, you can build houses in the sky for people. If they remain hungry, if they remain deprived, some of your biggest achievements will not even be mentioned. People would rather assess an administration in terms of how well it has addressed their welfare, it has addressed issues that directly concern them. Yes, no doubt about it, the reforms have been very good in terms of the deliverables from those reforms. The president, no doubt, many Nigerians when he decided to people call him when he decided to remove fuel subsidy, because the removal of fuel subsidy effectively took away the conduit pipe through which some enemies of the Nigerian state were milking it dry. And every presidential candidate did promise to remove fuel subsidy. Some of them can be telling a different story at this point, but we remember that they campaigned On that, they vowed to remove fuel subsidy. I even remember Nairametrics saying that if the president wants to succeed, that he must go ahead to remove fuel subsidy. The president removed fuel subsidy. The president also unified the exchange rate as a way of stabilizing our currency and boosting investor confidence. These these two key policies have drawn a lot of plaudits, a lot of praise for the administration. But you and I also know that a lot of Nigerians have suffered as a result of those policies. Because those policies have driven up food prices, have driven up fuel prices, and when fuel prices go up, we should expect that other things will be affected because you have to move goods and services. So the removal of fuel subsidy led to increase in prices of drugs, medicaments, led to increase in prices of food, virtually everything. That's a kind of domino effect on virtually everything, increasing the rate of inflation to levels that Nigerians had not seen before. So it's significant that he was courageous to take those steps. But at the same time, we have to admit that this has brought pain on Nigerians. I know that with time, things will begin to ease out. But at the time that the president took over, there was an urgent need to fix so many areas in our country. So many problems are begging to be fixed. For example, an incoming president needed to fix the security issues that we're having in the country at that time, at least from the time when he won the election, which took place on February 25, 2023. Those problems were there at that time, and those problems remain. So, in assessing the president, we'll need to look at some of the pressing problems that he inherited that he promised to fix. For example, let's start with security issues. The farmer-herder clashes, the banditry, kidnapping, separatist agitations, assassination of people, communal clashes, and the decade-long fight against Boko Haram. Lately, the fight against Boko Haram's capacity to torment our people appears to have been renewed. Between October 2024 and now, more than 150 Nigerian soldiers have been killed. A lot of our people have fled their communities because it's like the boys have come back with renewed vigor. Yes, at a point, it looked that we had decapitated them. But what is going on now suggests that the boys are fully back. They are overrunning military bases. They still attacked one of our most fortified bases in Borno State the other day. The place is called Bita. Bita is very close to Goza. It's about 30 kilometers to Goza, certainly no more than 30 kilometers. And more than 18 casualties were recorded, including soldiers. Our soldiers eventually overwhelmed them but not without recording casualties. Before then, they had also overrun um, military bases in Bunikeri, the hometown of the governor of Yobe State, overrun military bases in Sabongeri, in Marte, and other people. So, in the area of security, banditry is still rampant. So, I know that people will say these threats cannot be removed at once. But after 2 years, Nigerians expect significant improvement in that area. The president was also expected to address Nigeria's high inflationary rate, especially food inflation. But his policies have actually even worsened the inflation. And yes, some of these issues are being addressed at this time, but the problems have refused to go away. The president's goal, what was expected of him, was also to increase revenue. He has achieved a lot in that area. The customs, the FRS, they are doing very well in the area of addressing, increasing Nigerian revenue. He's been able to do that. He also grew external reserves from 4 billion to 23 billion in the year 2024. So, in the area of improvement in revenue, no doubt the administration has done well. But many people will also expect to see our appetite for loans go down. But we can't report at this time that that has been achieved. So if there is significant progress in the area of investment, securing new investments, especially from countries like UAE, Netherlands, the rest. So the president has, in the course of his shuttle diplomacy, has been able to secure new investment for Nigeria, new significant investment in from those countries. Secured 8 billion in new investments in the oil sector alone, which is significant. And the president has also introduced renewed hope estates to generate access to cheaper homes for Nigerians. And when you look at what some of his ministers, the successes recorded by some of his ministers, which you cannot take away from the president. We've seen progress in the area of passport backlogs, 200,000 passport backlogs cleared within a matter of weeks. Within a matter of weeks, cleared. And then the idea of contactless passport processing was also introduced. We are seeing success recorded in that area. And when you look at education, the NEL fund, the interest-free student loan, which has already been assessed by about 500,000 students, I think it's a big game changer, one of the most significant achievements of the administration. But problems remain in terms of the implementation of the program. Many students are complaining. Some even receive money after they had left school. They are supposed to receive the money when they need it the most, when they are in school. But some of the students actually get credited, and they receive the money after they have left school. We also expect that the president will stop frivolous spending. The president has made some moves, reducing the size of convoy, reducing the number of people who can travel within at any given time. But he still needs to do a lot more in that area, because Nigerians who are feeling so much pain, they can't stand the sight of their leaders spending money in a very wasteful and extravagant manner. So there is a lot that the president can do in that area. The president also needs, talking about some of the problems I inherited, close to 50,000 unemployment rate, especially of young people. There is a need to address that. As we speak, that has not been significantly addressed. And this is an area where if you will address that frontally and achieve results, the masses will benefit tremendously. They will see clearly that government policy has impacted positively on them. We need a good and stable exchange rate. That problem has been there. The exchange rate is fairly stable at this time. At least no longer, the naira is no longer hovering between 1,800 and 1,900 naira to a dollar, as we had in the very difficult phase of this administration. Right now, the CBN has been able to achieve stability as a result of its unification of rates. So there's no longer an exchange rate for pilgrims, a different exchange rate for people who want to buy medicaments and all that. So we have, and what that does is that it stimulates investor confidence. So this is an area where progress has been made, and we expect such progress to continue. The president, the administration introduced the Naira for crude policy, which is meant to encourage local refining of petroleum products. This has succeeded in helping us to achieve price stability. At least Dangote, Laji Dangote, president of Dangote Group, alluded to that price stability was one of the benefits of the introduction of the Naira for crude policy. So that, in my view, is people-centered, because the people want to see where prices go down significantly. Sukuk loans, the president cleared the 100 billion Sukuk debt. He also paid off our loan to indebtedness to IMF. This is significant. Nigerians are praising the president for this, but Nigerians were taken aback in the past week when another request for loan was sent to the Senate to work upon. This was not what Nigerians expected after they got information that the indebtedness to IMF, at least in terms of the principal, have been cleared. One of the very significant achievements of the administration in these 2 years is the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. People can say what they like, but I know that in 10 years, nobody will be able to say this was a needless project. The project is going on at a very good pace. They've almost finished the Lagos end of it, which is just a little less than 50 kilometers. They've almost finished, and they celebrated the completion of part of the Lagos end with fanfare. People were saying, "Oh, why are they celebrating when it's a 700-kilometer road and they are celebrating the completion of 30?" It was just meant to show that, look, we are staying the course, we are taking this project seriously, and this is what we have done. I think that The president has very good ministers in the works minister, Dave Umahi, as well as the FCT minister, um, Ison Wike. In terms of infrastructure, they've delivered the goods. These two gentlemen have done very well. You may not like Wike as a person because he causes all kinds of trouble all over the place, but you cannot fault the fact that Wike has done well in the area of infrastructure in the FCT. What people expect Wike to do is to take workers' welfare seriously. Wike has not taken workers' welfare seriously. He has just concentrated on delivering roads upon road, delivering bridges. Yes, that is good. Some of us can almost not recognize Abuja again. That's significant. It's done very well, but we also want to see him do much better in the area of workers' welfare. The Badagry-Sokoto Highway is another big project that is being embarked upon, along with some other projects that they inherited, like the Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano, dual carriageway. That dual carriageway is the oldest and the first dual carriageway in northern Nigeria. But over the years, the road had failed, leading to avoidable accidents. Now, the government proceeding on a very good pace to try and complete that project. No doubt about it, there are things that one can report, but Nigerians also think that, look, from their president, they want to see improvement in every area. Security, there's need for improvement. Inflation, high cost of food, people want it to go down. The cost of food is still very, very high. Security, the government needs to do better. Foreign policy, the government needs to do better, because when you look at the way the government handled the ECOWAS issue, today ECOWAS is divided because we didn't handle the matter very well. ECOWAS is divided, and that division is even causing us extreme pain, because some of the countries that used to work with us to secure our area, to secure our border areas, they no longer see us as friends, and it is making insecurity to get worse, especially in the northeast and some parts of the northwest, where Nigeria shares border with Niger Republic in no less than 6 states. So those joint patrols are no longer happening because some of those countries have left ECOWAS. So we are now there we now have to do some of these things alone. No, and we need their cooperation to defeat terrorism, especially in the Sahel. What Nigerians also want to see is a rejuvenation of the cabinet. Apart from the fact that the president needs a very, very effective economic team, there is a need for the president, after this fanfare in respect of the midterm milestone, there's a need for the president to send packing ministers who are in the administration, who are in the cabinet, but are not doing anything. Some of them are like passengers. They are not doing anything. They are not achieving much. They are largely insignificant. So why keep them? There's a need for a cabinet, a far-reaching cabinet reshuffle that will send packing ministers that are not adding value. During the presidential chat early this year, that I was privileged to be part of, I asked the president if all his ministers were adding value because I knew then, and I still know that a good number of those ministers are not adding value. They are just there, literally doing nothing. So we need ministers who will be very active, who will also be eager to even promote the administration. Show what you are doing. Show the work that you are doing. At the grassroots level, a lot of those ministers are not even prepared to talk about their government, what their government is doing.
Yeah.
So there's a need for work to be done in that area. There is also the need to improve our electricity generation and distribution. The president vowed that he would do something about electricity generation. If you ask me, assessing the president at this time, the president has not done much in that area. That is an area that needs significant attention. Hopefully, as as the president starts the his third year, as the president moves on with his third year, we hope that um, there will be improvement in the area of uh, electricity generation and distribution, so that Nigerians can enjoy better power supply, so that businesses can continue to thrive in our country. Ibrahim, as I round up and wait for your questions and comments, it is too early to say that President Tinubu will be a one-term president. It is too early. But I also would like to say that the opposition has been in dire straits. You and I know that. And with the opposition in dire straits and the ruling party, in spite of their problems, in spite of the different tendencies that came together to form the ruling party appears far more united than the opposition. So while we can point at what the president has done, what he has not done, what he needs to do, we have to say that the conduct of the opposition, the way the opposition comes together or refuse to come together, will shape the outcome of the 2027 general election. You will agree with me, Ibrahim, and others watching, that if the opposition had worked together in 2023, they will have secured a landslide victory against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But we know that in life, you don't always get what you wish. And the president won the election, and he has a chance to turn things around and cause Nigerians to give him a second shake of the dice.
That's right. Because of our time, let me quickly take some comments. Ewola Gabriel says, that's the situation. You are very objective in your submission about the reform and its impact. Pamoroti Omotai Moses says, VKO, what's this administration doing on price control? It's known that some policy surge up prices, or some policies surge up price, but little gains haven't reflected too. Flour price supposed to have reflected on bread price. Famaroti still says, no matter how the administration has tried, hunger will still be used as a yardstick to measure its success. Bio says, BKO introduction of student loans is a plus achievement. I visited the site. It seems the program needs more awareness and publicity. It's understandable there are hitches. Nelson Adife says, Minister of Power, Honorable Adilabu, should be replaced immediately. Rate of electricity is not as worse as the hardship the Minister of Power is inflicting on Nigeria, on Nigerians, the people and business. Um, Daniel Umokoro says, well done, sir. Bolagade Babalola says, in 2 years, are we really serious with all these expectations within 2 years? Mitu Songa says, Wike is almost forgetting he's an appointee and thinks it would be minister for the whole term, which is also possible, and probably taking his time in infrastructural development before he faces workers' welfare. But the question I have for you, Vicky, is that, okay, look at these comments, and I think this comment informs my next question. It says, people shout accountability in Abuja, but go mute when their state governors mismanage billions. Is it fear, tribal loyalty, or just selective outrage? And my question is, truly, when we talk about governance and accountability in Nigeria, the focus is often on federal government, but many states governors operate with little scrutiny, almost no demand for transparency from the public or institutions. Vicky, why do you think there is such a low appetite for holding subnational leaders accountable? And what are the consequences of this accountability gap for Nigeria's democratic and development goals?
It's a culture that has been there for so long. So many nasty things are happening in the states, and people are not really bothered. We bother so much about the center, and many people have suggested that we have to even make the center less and less attractive, so that it can translate to better governance within the federating units of our country. There is so much concentration on the center. The politics of the center is overwhelming. Everyone talks about the center. They want Tinubu to perform miracles. But there's a lot that governors can do that they are not doing. For example, I keep talking about agriculture. Governors can do a lot more in the area of agriculture than they are doing. Governors prefer to build roads than do their best to boost agriculture, which will deliver jobs into people's hands, which will even help bring down inflation, food inflation especially, because a very big component of inflationary trend has to do with food inflation. Governors are not doing enough to help us achieve food security, and the land belongs to these governors. How many of such lands have they cultivated? They prefer to flag off road projects. They are much more interested in the symbolism of flagging up road projects than the silent agric revolution that can change the fortune of our country. They're just not interested. A lot of the governors don't stay in their states. But you hear people shout about Tinubu, he has traveled again, he has gone to France again, But a lot of those governors don't even sit down in their states to work. They're either in Abuja or outside the country. And this is not an exaggeration. Many state governors travel much more than the president. So there's a need for NGOs, there's a need for individuals to pay greater attention to what their governors are doing. They need to pay greater attention. They need to challenge their governors, push them, nudge them to do much better than they are doing. There has to be accountability at all levels. But if we preoccupy ourselves with simply talking about the federal government, simply challenging the federal government and ignoring what goes on, including evil things going on at state level, then we are not serious. As simple as that.
That's right. Shegun Alade agrees with you, says it's wild how some governors control the judiciary, the legislature, and even media in their states. Who will check them? Who dares? Blessing Umar says we don't have weak institutions alone. We have weak citizens when it comes to governors. The fear of losing favors keeps people quiet. And Ibrahim Musa also says in many states, you criticize the governor and you lose your job, your contract, or worse. So everyone stays silent while corruption thrives. Okay, BKO, I think time is really fast spent, but then I wanted to, respond to this question based on historical antecedents. Nigeria's past experiences with especially structural adjustment programs have had mixed outcomes. How do you think this current administration can learn from history to avoid repeating past mistakes and ensure equitable economic growth, and then carrying the subnationals along, even though the local governments have now gained their autonomy, but still entangled in the stranglehold of their emperor governors?
Yes, I think we need to continue to look at our constitution. Governors have far too much powers than they need. And a lot of them are misusing their powers as governors. So this has to be addressed. We want to see the autonomy of local governments work fully in a manner that the ordinary people, the everyday Nigerians, will benefit from it. Right now, the governors are doing their best to make sure that this does not work because they have their eyes on the funds of the local governments. Their appetite for the funds of local government has not diminished one bit. So what the local governments have shown that if they are given the wherewithal, the local government chairman, they will run their local governments competently. They will do big projects. But some governors will not allow their local governments chairman to function. And if you confront them as a local government chairman, you lose your job. Whereas the law says, the Supreme Court has ruled that a governor cannot suspend a local government, and cannot even fire a local government. But we see them suspend this local government chairman indefinitely if they are confronted, if they ask for their funds. We want to see the autonomy of local governments work. Let us even see the kind of changes that can bring. We want to see the kind of changes that can bring.
That's right. Evangelist Julius Omoribe says, so many eyes on the federal government and neglect for states and local governments. Really sad. In fact, governors are the worst politicians in Nigeria. Security should be taken more serious. That's according to Nelson Adupe. And Banji Okisoto says, it is only good for PVAT to have a second term to consolidate its reform. I think we're out of time, BKO, but I just want to squeeze in this question because, of course, we can't have enough time to assess the midterm report of the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You read out some of the things he's been able to do and some things that are currently ongoing. We have the CNG, which is introduced to help mitigate against the impact of the fuel subsidy removal. But what are the things that you would like to see in the next 2 years? Is it possible that the president can, I don't know, it can't enforce the governors, but is there a way he can speak to the governors and every single person who needs to contribute their own quota to put their hands on deck so that this administration succeeds? Because in the midst of this, his own party members, his party members have endorsed him for second term. They've passed the vote of confidence on him and endorsed him for second term. And others are saying, why do we need this? Because people are hungry and then we are playing politics.
Yeah, I think that is too early, some of what we are saying. It's too early. Just before we go to the halfway mark, these endorsements are coming as if the election will happen later this year. It's wrong. Mr. President said he does not want to bother himself about campaigns now, that they should focus, that he wants to remain focused. He has not told anybody to go and campaign for him. But the Nigerian environment is full of sycophants and attention seekers. Those who want to get the attention of the president. They are saying things that the president has not even told them to say. They want to show that they are the most loyal to him. This is bad politics. Politics, governance should not take the back step. I mean the back seat. These politicians should, especially those holding elective positions, should focus more on governance. The time for campaigns have not come. All of the rhetorics that suggest that, oh, we are already talking about 2027, we wish that the election, as if the election will happen tomorrow, it needs to stop. Our people want changes in their situation, and we need to do our best to make those changes happen. All hands must be on deck. Governors, federal lawmakers, state lawmakers, they all must give their best so that the Nigerian situation can be transformed positively.
That's right.
I don't think it's right to begin to campaign at this time. I don't think it's some of what we are seeing. I don't think it's right at all. I'm not happy about it.
Well, let's hope they listen. And that's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide Kolade Tutoju, for those insightful analyses, as always.
Thank you, Ibrahim, for doing this with me again. I say a big thank you to our viewers who always keep it a date with us. We are there for you. We will continue to give our best.
Right. Thank you to our audience for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.